Hey, boo, hey, get in here. So, you're in the right place. Let's talk about you're doing the most. You've hit burnout and you keep doing it, and you don't know why you hit that wall. And I think the reason that you hit the wall is you're feeding the fire, but you think that you are doing better because you are an ambitious mom with a to-do list with 50 million things, and it's called busyness. But busyness does not mean productivity. Do you hear me? So another reason that I wanted to jump in with you guys is because I'm just fresh off another Momentum Masterclass, and I like jumping in to tell you things that I think is going to be of substantial need to help you to get to your next level. And so, one thing I want to talk about is if you continue to feed the fire, these are the mistakes that you are consistently making. You're thinking you have to do everything yourself. That's a false thing. Why? Because when you wear the Superwoman cape, you think that it has to be everything and you have to do everything for yourself, but you really don't have to. Number two, you always have this to do list, as I said, and you're looking busy, but you're not being productive. And sometimes I tell people you have to give yourself permission to slow down. I talk about that in my book, I Choose Me, The Intentional Guide to Never Losing Yourself Again. That is one of my biggest things that I talk about. Number three, you're not talking to yourself in a positive manner. And what I mean is you feel like you're not doing enough. That's why you have the to-do list, because you want to look busy. And so the power of positive, sexy talk is when you talk to yourself like someone you love. That's what Brene Brown says best. And that is something I stand on with my Bloom framework. That's a part of the B, where you have to believe in yourself. But you don't get to that point until you build confidence. But first, it starts with vulnerability. That leads to courageousness. Then you lead into confidence. So you have to be mindful of how you're talking to yourself. And so when you continue to feed the fire instead of to extinguish it or dim down the fire, there's some things that you need to do. And the first one I want you to do today is to say, where are your yeses going? And can you say yes to yourself? What is one yes you can say to yourself? I talked about on a recent Instagram post about how I had a client, Aaron, who was overstretched, overworked, doing all the things. Why? Because I've been there. I beat burnout twice. You hear me? And so, like I tell people, I don't look like what I've been through. I'm Coach Janine, and I'm also a certified life coach, a speaker, and an author. And these are things that I talk about with my clients. And one of my clients was really struggling with that. And I asked her a question of, have you said yes to yourself lately? Because when you start to say, what have you chosen for yourself? It makes you start to say, I'm always saying yes to everybody, but why am I doing that? Is it goes back to those mistakes that we just talked about with the Superwoman syndrome, having a to-do list, not talking sexy to ourselves. Your win today is I want you to think about what's one thing that you could choose yourself more on. And I want you to schedule it in. I want you to get off of this with me, and I want you to go ahead and figure out what does that look for you. Sometimes I tell people, when you're confused about what it is that you should do, because sometimes it's not that you don't want to do anything for yourself, you don't know what's going to feed your soul. Think about the things when you were an inner child, things that made you happy, things that's going to make you smile, things that's going to make you show up better. Because once I started to realize that little girl inside me, she needed a little bit of things too.